Hey, good morning, folks. Kicking off week number 49. I'm with Revelation chapter 3, and it's the final three letters to the seven churches in Revelation. The first is written to Sardis, and God is saying that you have the reputation of being alive, but you are dead, and says you need to strengthen what remains, for it also is about to die. Your works are not complete in my sight. And then he tells them what they need to do. He says, remember then what you received and heard, keep it and repent. It says you need to wake up. So they need to go back and remember how things used to be and do that and to repent from what they're doing currently. So we aren't positive what they are doing, but God is saying that they're certainly going in the wrong direction. Then we have to the church in Philadelphia, and this is a church that really doesn't receive a warning. It is saying you have an open door, and what is open, what I have opened, cannot be shut. It says you have but little power, and yet you have kept my word. Praises them for their patient endurance. This is the church, I wonder, really about Salem and other small churches out there, that you have but little power, but if you remain faithful to your word, have not denied his name, behold, I will make you, I will open a door that cannot be shut. So what are the open doors that God is giving to us at Salem and to other perhaps small churches that feel they don't have the resources or the people to accomplish a lot? And God says, I have opened a door that cannot be shut. And the last church is Laodicea, and this is the church that says you are neither hot nor cold, you are lukewarm, and it says because you are lukewarm, I will spit you out of my mouth. My understanding from this church is that they had no water supply, and that the water had to be brought in through aqueducts, either from the north or the south, and that depending on what direction it came, it was either hot water or cold water from whatever direction. And the lukewarm water was tepid and gross and was not usable. And then God is saying that you are not being used. You are not usable. Lukewarm water is of no use. It is not of help. So to be either hot or cold meant to be usable, to be useful. And we see the famous verse in verse 20, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in to him and eat with him and he with me. So this promise from God that he is standing at the door of these churches, of this church especially, and he is knocking, and he's wanting them to open the door. And I know we've have talked about that verse as Christians, that God is standing at the door of your heart and knocking, which I think is true. It's certainly taking it out of context a little bit here, but it is true as well. But God is standing at the door of this church and knocking, and says if you hear his voice and open the door, he will enter. So that brings us to the end of the to the letters of the seven churches, and we'll get into chapter 4 of Revelation tomorrow. Let me know which church, maybe, what stood out to you, or if, I've wondered if God wrote a letter to our church, or to your church, or to us as individuals. What would he write? What would he praise? And what would he say you need to do better at? So have a great day. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and pray God would bless you as you open his word.